goal, Quishbilly Huddersfield Town! The most famous goal of Quishbilly's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is! Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed! Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Look what happens when you feed the war day. Welcome to the warm-up episode 56. It's Friday night under the lights for Huddersfield Town as they try and keep this cracking unbeaten run going. But will they light up the faces of Huddersfield Town fans, or will Stoke spark them out? Joining me, your host Brady Frost, is my co-host Josh Phillips. Josh, just the two of us tonight. Are you going to stay to the end for this one? That's the question everyone wants to know.
Yeah, probably will. I'll try my best because there's only two of us. It'd be a bit mean to leave you on your own, wouldn't it? So I'm still recovering from Saturday's game. I went to Reading, very enjoyable day out, and I didn't really celebrate the fourth goal because I thought, well, there's bound to be more. So I feel I should have gone for it a bit more, but never mind.
I suppose you had to, 6 other goals to, react to. I was going to say celebrate, but you're not going to celebrate Reading goals, are you?
No, well, we got our money's worth.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, Tom Bradshaw was there as well. Talked about it on the other pod. So good to know we had some representatives from the pod. So
yeah, it's a bit of a bleak away day, really, with it being empty. The only saving grace is that they put the noisy Reading fans right next to the away end, so there's a bit of an atmosphere in that sense. But when you look around the ground, it's less than half full. It's a bit meh.
Bit meh. Well, I tell you what isn't a bit meh. The game we always play now, because there's two of us, we always do a Guess the 11. So, Josh, my Guess the 11 is for you. You may have seen that Huddersfield Town legend Juninho Bacuna has joined Birmingham City today. And I enjoyed it because I saw Birmingham fans were sharing the clip of his own goal against Stoke in the Carabao Cup back in 2018. So, Josh, there were 10 other players that started that day in the 2-0 defeat to Stoke at the Britannia, or whatever it's called now. How many do you reckon you could name? So again, no time limit, but if you get one wrong, you're out.
One wrong, I'm out.
Yeah. Come on.
All right. Well, I think I can. I'll try and name as many as I can. What about I have 3 lives?
Yeah. Okay. 3 lives. I'll give
3
you
lives.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So ready to start?
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think it was a League Cup when I think it was like a second string sort of. So I'm going to go Ben Hamer.
No, strike one.
Oh God. De Poitre.
Yes, De Poitre was up front.
Okay,
that's one.
And Benza.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah. Tommy Smith.
Correct.
Yeah. Centre backs. Zanka.
Strike 2. Is that strike 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
Strike 2.
It's hard trying to think of these players. So I'm guessing like Moy and Schindler weren't playing, so I'm not going to say them. So, Tom Ince had left. God, I can't think of any players. How did you know?
Strike 3, you're out, mate. So you got, obviously I gave you Bacuna, that's on the house. You named him Benza, you named Tommy Smith, and you named De Poitre. Jonas Lossell was in goal.
Right.
Centre-back pairing of Christopher Schindler and John Stankovic.
You see, I didn't go for Schindler because I thought it was a reserve team.
Yeah. Eric Durn playing left-back, apparently.
Well, he's forgettable.
Yeah. Danny Williams alongside Bacuna.
Yeah, I like
and the 3 behind De Poitre was Elias Kachunga and Benzo, who you got, and Sabiri.
Should have got Kachunga.
Well, it's all right, mate. It's all right, mate. That was a tough one, to be fair. There's a couple of names surprised me. Moy was on the bench for that one. But everyone remembers it for Bacuna's own goal. And, we've joked a little bit about Bacuna, but, I'm not a betting man, but he's definitely going to score against us when we play Birmingham.
I think he'll turn it on for that game, that's for sure.
100%. We will see. But anyway, we're not talking about Birmingham. We're talking about Stoke. So we're playing them tomorrow night. As I mentioned, it's on telly. They're 11th in the league. Nice bit of symmetry here. 11 wins, 5 draws, 11 losses. And they're 11th from 27 games. They're on 38 points. That's just 6 behind good old Huddersfield. However, Stoke have won just once in the last 6, which was a 2-0 win against Hull. And they're 20th in the form table. And guess who are top of the form table? Bloody Huddersfield Town.
Really?
So, yeah, which surprised me. We're above Fulham. But, Fulham have scored 20 more goals than us. Yeah. But form table, you'll never sing that. So we know what's going to happen. This is definitely going to be 2-0 loss on Friday. I'm joking, but Stoke have actually won 4 of their last 6 away games. So maybe that's not as ridiculous as I'm saying.
No.
But, and again, Bacuna is quite a big theme in this one. We actually haven't beaten Stoke since 2019, and that was the Bacuna late winner under Danny Cowley, which kick-started another unbeaten run. So there's a little bit of, plot within this one.
Yeah.
Josh, but how are you feeling about this game?
I was feeling better until I saw a couple of things on social media today. One being that Stoke have got a load of players back from injury, and 2 being that Colwell's out for at least 2 to 3 weeks. So despite those 2 things, I'm still optimistic that we can continue our good run and get a win. A draw is very conceivable. It wouldn't be a bad result, a draw, but if we're serious about playoffs, I think we've got to target a win from this one. But they'll be tough. It'll be a tough game. I think it'll be quite low scoring. I hope we can nick it 1-0 like Coventry did against them during the week.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a tough one. I think Stoke, just looking like, I'm not pulling up the exact stats, but they don't lose typically by more than 1 goal. So, and they don't concede that many. So, yeah, it couldn't, even though it is Friday and it's on TV, I'm not sure if it's going to be like the Reading match where it was just end to end. So we will see with this one. But I think I'd be interested to see who you've picked as a key player for them, Josh, because when I always look at Stoke, I'm like, they've got some big names, like teams who've been in the Premier League. But in terms of key players, because they've had quite a few injuries, I found it quite difficult. But who have you gone for?
I'm just looking at their last lineup against the Coventry defeat. And one thing, I didn't realise Jagielka had gone there. That must have happened without me noticing. That was at Derby. So it must have been a recent transfer. So obviously
his contract ended, didn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So
you've got experience there with him. He's pushing 40. Taylor Howard-Bellis next to him on loan from Man City. He's quite a highly rated prospect. A couple of ex-Town players in there, Tommy Smith. And then up front, you got the Demario Wright-Phillips, which is Ian Wright's grandson. Is it Sean Wright-Phillips' son, I think?
It is, yeah. You're just reading the whole team here, Josh.
But the one I'm going for is, I'm getting there, mate. I'm getting there. The one I've gone for is Sam Clucas.
All right, yeah.
It's just a player that whenever I watch him, he seems to pop up and either score or assist or something. He's one you got to keep an eye on because when he gets in around the box, he's a danger. So I think he's the one to keep an eye on for me. But players returning from injury, you got Stephen Fletcher. You could, if they start him or bring him off the bench, he's always a handful. So yeah, there's quite a lot of players to look out for. But me personally, Sam Clucas.
I think that's an interesting one because I've also think the midfield battle is going to be a bit of an interesting one. I did nearly go for DiMaggio Wright-Phillips because he's like kind of the last couple of games he's broken into the team, scored against Fulham, but went for Lewis Baker just because he signed from Chelsea after playing there since like one of those loan players that's been at Chelsea since 2013 and never really played for the first team. But I think he's a really good player at this level. I know we can't match the wages as some other teams, but I think I would have liked him at Town. He's got a great goal against Fulham as well, actually, and I just think if he if he's at a club and settled, like, he could be one to watch. Maybe not this season, but definitely next season. But I think he could pose a few issues on Friday. So that's who I've gone for. But
it's great that he's 26 and he's only just left Chelsea. He's never played a game for them, but he's been on loan for 8 years, various clubs.
I mean, there's so many players like that for Chelsea. But well, anyway, we know all about Chelsea loan players and how good they can be. You talked about Colwell. We're definitely missing him. But from the players you can pick from, Josh, who have you gone as a key player for Town?
Well, I've actually gone down the Colwell angle. So if he's going to be out 3 weeks plus, there's options. You can either... I think we've got to go back to a back three for most games. We did concede 3 goals with a back four on Saturday, and we looked a bit all over the place. Got away with it against Reading, but I think that was a bit of a warning for what can happen if we revert to a back four. So I think we'll be a back three, and then you've got options. You go Turton right centre back, Pearson middle, and Lees on the left side. But then I think for me, you're moving too many players around. So I think the reason I'm going for a key player for is Naby Sarr, not just for this game, but for the next month or so. I think he's going to have to come in and play the left centre back position. We know how good he can be. I think his last game there against Blackpool, he had a bit of a nightmare. But then the game before against West Brom, he was man of the match. So let's hope he can have more of the West Brom performances than Blackpool. But he's got to improve his one-on-one defending out there. The West Brom game, when he got man of the match, he was centre of the three, where I think suits him more. But unless I can't see us getting a loanee in unless Colwell's injury is really bad. So I'm going for Naby Sarr to step up to the plate and fill the void left by Levi.
I think that's a really good shout, and I completely agree. He's much better in the centre of the three. You could argue you could put Tom Lees out there on the left, but I think that's a really important point because we are going to miss Colwell. But I saw people saying we should recall Edmonds Green, but I think if it's only 3 weeks, I think we could probably soldier on. But I think that's a really good pick.
Yeah. If it is 3 weeks, then don't bother. But if behind the scenes they're thinking it might need it could be longer, then you've got an option. Then I think we have to get someone in, either recall Edmonds Green or Critchlow, probably Critchlow because he's left-footed, or do we get another loan player in? But hopefully it is only 3 weeks.
Yes, here's hoping. Here's hoping that also he stays at the end of the season, but he definitely won't. But anyway, we can dream.
Yeah, I think we'd have to go up. I'd say actually no. I think he'll be in Chelsea's team next year.
Do you? That's an interesting one. Yeah, I mean we've seen Chalobah, Town loan.
He's better than Chalobah for one thing, and Chelsea have got defenders leaving. So,
good point.
There's a big opportunity for him.
Yeah. Well, anyway, talking about people who could stay past their loan, that links nicely onto my key player. I've gone for Danel Sinani because I think he's in a bit of a good run at the moment, 2 in the last 2. And we saw against Swansea when he went off at half-time how it affected the team. It's interesting, Josh. I mean, unless he has a bit of a stinker from now until the end of the season, we do have an option to buy, and I think it's worth triggering. I think I've seen recent weeks, and we've seen it in flashes. He reminds me of your typical kind of flair wing player. He can be a bit hot and cold, but I don't know. I think I've seen enough in him to make it a permanent. If like I say, unless he has his form drops off a cliff. But
no brainer for me. Yeah, sign him. His record's good. He's not afraid to have a shot. Makes things happen. Whether he'll run at defenders, he'll shoot. But yeah, he just every time he got the ball against Reading, he thought something could happen. He's a lively player, isn't he? He's definitely worth having. So I'd be taking that option.
There you go. Who needs Lee Bromby and all them? It's just me and Josh. We're just calling decisions on the fly. There you go. Anyway, we'll move on because it's time for the view from the other side. So I caught up with Ben Rowley, Stoke fan from the Stoke podcast, the YYY Files, and here's what he had to say. Hi Ben, thanks for joining me. So what's the atmosphere like with Stoke City fans at the moment? Are you happy with Michael O'Neill and how the season's playing out?
Yep, thanks for having me. So we're a little bit disappointed, I think, at the moment. I'm not going to lie. We had such a good start to the season. We were baked into the playoffs, and it looked like that we'd be on course there for the rest of the season. And then injuries took their toll, particularly to Harry Souttar at centre back, and we've not been good pretty much ever since the 1-0 win against West Brom. And we've started sliding down the table, and it is disappointing considering that this looked to be the season where we had the best chance of making a push for the playoffs, and we've certainly done that. But it seems like same old from last season. It was injuries that brought us down then. Exactly the same. We were in the playoffs and we slowly slid out. Hopefully, we've got about 20 games to go. There's time to turn it around. But I think it's less about the fact that we're losing games or drawing games that we should be winning. It's more about the fact that the way we've been losing, we've been going down without a fight. If we've conceded first, I think in the 12 games where we've been losing, then we've lost. I think 11 of them. I think only one we've ever come back to win from. So that's not the trait of a playoff side, is it? We need to improve the mindset, I think, of certain players. The form needs to improve. And really, we've got to do that pretty quickly, haven't we?
And what are you expecting from the game against Huddersfield?
Well, the form table shows that we're at opposite ends of the table. We've not been good. I think we've lost, I think it's like 4 of the last 6. Meanwhile, you guys have won 4 in your last 6 and drawn the other 2, I think. So, I'm not confident on paper heading into this game. But we've got significant players coming back from injury. For example, Ben Wilmot at centre-back, Nick Powell in midfield, Stephen Fletcher up front, amongst others. And it's good to see. We've got new signings that are coming as well. Lewis Baker should be playing his 3rd or 4th game. Taylor Hardwood-Bellis and Phil Jagielka will have another game at the back together, so that's a bit more experience there. Jaden Philogene-Bidis should be playing up front for this game as well, alongside somebody. It'll be nice to see a bit of injection of pace into the game. So, what am I expecting? Stoke are a relatively unknown quantity. I think that you guys are playing well and, are looking a good bet to make a playoff push this season. But then I think that Stoke, albeit in bad form, could revive ourselves. And we've been doing decently away from home this season compared to how we've been doing previously. Hopefully we G ourselves up a bit better than we did against Coventry and we make a game of this. That's what I want. I want Stoke to prove that even if we do lose against an informed side, it looks like we could go and beat other teams.
And where do you expect the game to be won and lost from a Stoke perspective? I noticed Stoke haven't been the greatest in the league in regards to form recently.
From a Stoke point of view, I think losing the game is likely to be of our own doing. It's been stupid mistakes, either whether it's passing directly to the opposition from the back, whether it's taking a rubbish set piece and being counter-attacked, whether it's not dealing well with our set pieces coming into our own box. I think we've conceded quite a few from corners and free kicks this season. It just switching off, and that's been typical of Stoke for the last 5 or 6 years. We've not remained alert for 90 minutes, and I think that against an informed team such as yourselves, we could be really struggling here, and we can't afford to lapse. And if we do, I think that's where we'll lose the game. In terms of winning the game, I think if we get our midfield set up straight, our defence is alert, and our forward line is as unpredictable as I think it could be, even from a starting lineup point of view. When you think about it, we've got Stephen Fletcher, Jacob Brown, Tyrese Campbell, Jaden Philogene-Bidis, as I mentioned earlier, amongst others. We've got options, and we could play all sorts of different ways against you guys. Even in midfield, Joe Allen, Lewis Baker, Mario Vrancic, Nick Powell now is back. We've got a lot of options. I don't know how we're going to approach the game. I would still expect a back 3, but after the disappointing result in midweek, I expect O'Neill to change up the game, particularly because it's our 3rd game in 7 days. So It's going to be a nervous watch on Sky. I must admit, I'm not going to the game. But after Coventry, could you blame me, really? So it'll be a nervous watch on Sky, and I just hope that we can save our season, and this could be a really pivotal game to do so.
Okay, cool. So we've heard from Ben. Now it's time to go back in time because it's Return to the Mac. Okay, Josh, who are you going for? Who are you bringing back?
I'll let you go first, mate.
Oh, okay. Well, so obviously doing my research on Guess the 11, and I've had this debate with friends, and I was trying to think of people to bring back because you don't always want to go for the big hitters. So anyway, I'm rambling here. I think because Levi's out for 3 weeks, I actually have gone for John Stankovic because I think he would be good in a free, and I think he would suit Corberan's style because I know he would be a bit. I think the issue we had when we played him and Schindler in the 5-2 defeat is they're a bit too similar. But I think with Levi out, I think I would like to bring him in, and I think he could do quite well in a back three. So yeah, I've gone for Mr. Stankovic.
Yeah. Well, I've gone down the similar lines. A replacement for Levi. I don't think I'm going to win the poll with this answer.
Okay.
It's Terence Congolo.
Oh, yeah.
I think being a left-footed centre-back, I think it's his perfect position, really, playing left in the back three. And if he was on his game, it's no question, is it? He's a superb defender. Obviously, he left town under a cloud. His career's gone a bit of a downward spiral. I think he's on loan to Groningen now. So, yeah, he's not popular amongst the fans, but if you got him on his game for 3-4 weeks, I think he'd be superb to bring back.
That's a good shout. Like you say, it depends if you get second half of the season in the Premier League Congolo or 5-2 Bristol City defeat Congolo. Yeah. It was funny. We were actually chatting about him today in one of my group chats with some town fans, and he's the one that still stings for me because I just thought like he was great when he came in, and it's just there might be various reasons why it works out. Obviously,
and
you're never privy to this,
and how much we paid to sign him permanently.
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely thought, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I thought when we signed him on a permanent, I was like, oh, even if we stay up or go down, I could see us getting a good fee for him and him being like an established lower Premier League player. But yeah.
Well, it's come back to bite him, hasn't it, his attitude? So it's bitten us because we won't get the money back, but it's also bitten him because he's not fulfilling his potential.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, to get 2 million for him, given how his form dropped off, fair enough. What you could say is he took on Phil and he lost to Phil. So there you go.
Also, he's too injury prone, isn't he?
Yeah, there is that. That's probably one of the reasons it's fun. Who knows? But good shout, that, mate. I think I probably will win the poll. But I actually think your shout makes more sense. So we will see.
That's what I'm here for. It makes sense.
Exactly. Twitter's also a place where sense is regularly happening. So it's time for You're the Boss anyway, Josh. So how are you going to line up? I assume you're not going to play back four based on what you said about Reading.
No, I think that was a warning. Not to play back four. In fact, I kept saying, is he going to change to a back three? Because every time we took the lead, it was like just waiting for them to score again. But anyway, so Nichols in goal. Back three of Pearson, Lees, and Sarr. Pippa and Toffolo wing backs. O'Brien and Hogg in the middle. Goal machine Ward up front, and then the attacking inside forwards, I suppose they are. I go Sinani and Thomas.
Interesting, because I still think Thomas is better at right wing back, to be honest.
He is, but I like Pippa.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't, to be fair?
I think you've got to get them both in.
Yeah. You're right. You do have to get both in.
I'd maybe put Thomas on the left, so the left wing inside forward position, and have Sinani on the right side, and then you got Pippa going round Sinani and Toffolo overlapping around Thomas. Anyway, your go.
Okay. I think you're right. You do have to get them both in, which is why I'm debating between a back three and a back four, because I know it was a bit of a goal crazy game with the back four, but I think with Colwell out, and I think Toffolo's better in a four. I'm going to go. Right. Okay. I've decided. No, because Stoke play with two strikers. I'm going for a back three because we saw what two strikers did against Reading. Okay, so I'm going Pippa because we did kind of play him as a back three. Pearson, Lees. My wing backs are Thomas and Toffolo, and I'm having Hogg and O'Brien in the middle. And then I think Holmes might be back for this, so I'm going Sinani on the right, Ward and Holmes, because I think Holmes has been great recently. We missed him. Yeah. So yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because Pippa's the conundrum, I think, because I think Sorba's better.
Pippa's a right centre back here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Has he got discipline for that? I think he'd just charge forward.
I think I thought about play. Well, so when we signed him from Espanyol, he was played right mid quite a bit as well. So I actually wonder if you play Pippa, if you play back three, have Thomas as your right wing back, and then maybe play Pippa as a winger. I don't know if that's controversial to say.
It's a conundrum, the Pippa thing, because Thomas, for all he's good going forward, he's actually pretty sound defensively, considering that he's not known for being a wing back until this season. You know, we look more solid down the right defensively than the left. I think Toffolo is a bit guilty sometimes of not being interested in defending, maybe being harsh there. But if you look at some of the one of the goals in particular, Reading scored. It was Lees and Toffolo got in a bit of a mess in terms of positioning. So yeah, Thomas. The risk is if you move him out of that right wing back position, do you upset the balance of the team?
Yeah,
so, yeah, it's tricky.
I think Hartrick said it when we had it on the pod last week. Thomas is better running 40 yards into space rather than 10 yards. And I don't know. It's an interesting one, isn't it? It's a good job we're not actually the managers, and this is purely a hypothetical situation.
Well, I'm sure Carlos sees what's happening on the training ground as well, doesn't he? So I trust in him to make the right decision.
I thought you were going to say, I'm sure Carlos, he'll listen to this and take our advice.
Yeah, well, that as well.
Oh, yeah, it goes without saying, doesn't it? Okay, Josh. I think we're nearly done here, but before we go, we'll just talk about our match predictions. So how do you see this game going, really? And what's your score prediction for this one?
Yeah, I think it'll be a tight game. I'm going to go 1-0 Town.
Okay.
Lord Ward.
Lord Ward.
He's on fire, so he's got to score again. I think it will. We'll have to be really up for this. We have to fight for this result, but I think we've got the mentality in the team to do that. So I think it's going to be a nervy one. I think we might be holding on for the last 20-25 minutes as we so often do. But I'm backing us to get another clean sheet. Naby to step up and perform. 1-0 Town.
I like it. So I think this is going to. I agree with you. I think this is going to be a tough game. Stoke have had loads of injuries, but like you say, it seems like every single injured player is coming back into play in this game. So Tyrese Campbell was on the bench. Bit worried if he starts because I think he's a fantastic player.
God, I hope not.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think this is going to be a draw, this one. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's very similar to Swansea, where we get to take the lead because we're at home and then they grow into it. Yeah. And I suppose it depends on the circumstances, but I would actually take that because I think Stoke are they're decent. They're 11th. They're only a couple of points off of us, and I think it's just if we can keep picking up points to keep this run going, I think it might although you might be, if it plays out the way it did against Swansea, you'd be frustrated. But I think I take a draw, and I think it's probably a good point, even if we are at home.
Well, if we draw and then beat Derby, it's a good point. Like
Yes,
the Swansea one's looking a good point now, because I watched them against QPR. They had the Rudd look a couple of times, but they were good value for a draw there. So that now is looking a better point than it maybe did at the time. So I think similar with this, if we draw and then beat Derby, I think it'd be a good point.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we will see, won't we? But yeah, it's nice. We've got 3 games, from tomorrow. We've got 3 games in just over a week at home. So yeah, let's see. But yeah. All right. Well, I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right, Josh, with the old match predictions. But I will be going down tomorrow. And I will actually be going to the Magic Rock tap room before the game. Because obviously, not because we're just sponsored by them, but because that's my pre-match ritual anyway. But yeah, thanks to Magic Rock for sponsoring this. Thanks to you all for listening. Oh, you are?
Seamless, mate.
Seamless. Well, it was seamless until you interrupted me. But
I'll have to give you credit.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay. So yeah, cheers to everyone for listening. Thanks to Magic Rock for sponsoring us. And yeah, we'll catch you for the next one.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.